These clashes between pro and anti-government demonstrators have been on the go since mid-afternoon, and they show no sign of letting up. Pro-Mubarak demonstrators out there in Tahrir Square clashing with the anti-government demonstrators. This is the 9th day of demonstrations, but this is certainly the first day that we've seen such violence, barring aside the first day. Now, we are hearing reports of injuries, many of those injuries to people's heads and arms, suggesting the stone throwing, stones being what people are literally picking up and throwing at one another. We know that some people have been breaking road signs and picking up sand and literally using whatever they can get their hands on to throw at the other side. The army is there, but they're doing nothing. Soldiers are standing on their tanks observing what is happening. All of this happening in front of the Cairo Museum, which houses priceless antiquities. So a lot of concern over whether or not that museum will be broken into again. At the same time, we have heard gunshots, and as I'm talking to you, I can hear 2 military helicopters circling above. Tahrir Square is just a short distance behind me. It's on the other side of the river, and there are fears that protesters will spread further because a short time ago they made their way slightly out of Tahrir Square into the streets surrounding the area. They're injured, the fear, the aggression, the anger. This really is a tipping point in these protests and in these demonstrations, and many are saying that the Egyptian president will now have a reason to say, you need me, look at me, I am needed for stability. This certainly is a pro-government mobilization as well, if the rumors are to be believed. What we do understand is that on the clothing of some of those pro-government supporters were police ID. People have been asking the question, where have been the police the last few days? And if indeed these IDs are correct, it seems the police have been preparing themselves for today's violence. We also know that a lot of these pro-Mubarak supporters are thugs, or we're being told that they're thugs. We're also being told, and we have been told since the early hours of this morning, that people have been coming to the streets because they've been paid to go out to the streets and show their support to Mubarak. What is significant about these demonstrations is that until now this has been a leaderless protest. There has been a lot of talk about the fact that the various opposition groups have come together, but not under one banner. Now, Mohammed al-Baradei is the name that has been put forward, the former head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, and he has said that he is prepared to head an interim government. But ask people here on the streets what they think of him, assuming they even know who he is. Most people here do not like him. Now, he's come on board and he has criticized today's demonstrations. He says that President Mubarak is using scare tactics against the people. Whether he says that, whether he doesn't say that, what is true is that there is dissent among the opposition groups. We're hearing that some groups are saying, yes, let's meet with the president now. We hear other groups like al-Baradei himself and the Muslim Brotherhood saying no, they're not prepared to meet with Mubarak until he steps down. Either way, the voice on the street is that they do not want al-Baradei. They do believe that he is of the same cloth as Mubarak. People saying that they really want to be left to decide for themselves who is their leader and not imposed from the outside, because they do believe that both Mubarak and al-Baradei are being supported by the United States and that the US is meddling in internal Egyptian affairs. The same message was put out by the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. He has called on the world community to allow Egyptians to decide for themselves.
We want to see Egypt as a stable, thriving democratic state. We want the current social, political and economic problems to be resolved as soon as possible through peaceful means. But it's up to Egyptian politicians and the people to decide how this could be done in practice. We don't think it's helpful to impose solutions from outside, given ultimatums. Egyptian political forces need to find a consensus.
There's been no reaction so far from President Mubarak, but no doubt whatever he has to say will only instill the anger on the streets of Cairo.